Already facing labour and raw materials shortages, the world's supply chains are now confronted with rapid inflation and sanctions. The resulting severe disruptions to the flow of goods are impacting all of us. GEP, the global procurement and supply chain company, is delivering to Fortune 500 businesses software services and strategic solutions that mitigate and prepare for these risks. Two years after the start of the pandemic, we're still facing delays and price hikes for everyday products, from cars to computer chips, energy to lithium. Continuing shortages and bottlenecks are now compounded by war, inflation and wholesale uncertainty, causing severe disruptions and forcing companies to rethink their approach to supply chains. GEP is a leading provider of supply chain and procurement software, consulting and managed services to help global companies mitigate these risks. Founded in 1999 with 6,000 staff in offices all over the world, supporting $300 billion a year of client expenditure, GEP helps its clients transform their procurement, supply chain and business operations. What sort of impact is inflation having on company cost bases?
Inflation is very high at the moment. It's the highest in the G7 economies. It's been for over 20 years, and it makes a huge difference to company cost bases, which can represent 50% of overall company cost. And we're talking tens, hundreds of millions a year for big global organizations like our clients. So companies need to act now. They really need to act. They can refocus resources, add dedicated capacity to address the issue, and really look at new supply markets.
And that adapting in order to survive and thrive is integral to companies' abilities to move on post-pandemic. 75% say they expect revenue loss as a direct result of future supply chain disruptions. Clearly, it's been a hugely disruptive 2 years. Why are we still seeing shortfalls of so many goods?
We are still seeing so many shortfalls in so many goods because the supply chains of our clients, they are really not prepared to handle supply chain disruptions and risks. And they are here to stay, not only over the last 2 years, over the last decades. This is the new normal. And we are supporting our customers in various ways, helping them with dealing with operational tasks, but what is more important, supporting them in stepping back and rethinking supply chain management priorities from a strategic point of view.
Currently, only 5% of European companies are delivering on their own green targets, often lacking the tools and skills. It's clear that major transformation and the ability to be incredibly agile is needed if we're to hit global net zero by 2050. We're all on this journey to net zero together. What role does the supply chain play, and how is GEP helping?
As procurement and supply chain leaders, we affect transformation. 80% of carbon emissions sit in our supply base. The problem is we have a disconnect between what our organisations sign us up for and the reality of running a supply chain. 70% of CPOs tell us that they do not know where carbon emissions come from in their supply base. So at GEP, we help them with that, to identify the sources of carbon emissions and affect transformation.
GEP is committed to employing the latest technology, data science and AI to manage a supply base that will mitigate the impact of inflation and other external factors, while staying on track to hit worldwide sustainability goals.
Companies need to rethink their focus when it comes to the supply base and really act to mitigate inflation rather than just worry about previously bottom line costs.
In order to move the needle on ESG, we must have real data, real visibility, and organisations must collaborate.
More and more companies realize that supply chain disruptions are here to stay. And those companies who do not address these challenges from a strategic point of view are putting their position in the competitive market under highest risk.
GEP, taking a more strategic approach to mitigate the environmental impact of the supply chain and helping to build a more resilient future for its clients and the wider world.